Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Coaching Corner. You guys know I love Tuesdays because I get to come on and talk with you all. Wa alaikum assalam and Ramadan Mubarak to you. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone who is celebrating Ramadan. Oh my God, can you guys believe we are on, what is this, day 18? Is this day 17 or day 18? Either way, I can't believe we're almost to the last 10 days. It literally feels like we just started fasting. Like literally, it feels like we just started fasting. But as you are coming in, drop. Oh, thank you. This is day 18. Thank you so much, Walia. Day 18. Like we're almost to the last 10 days. Goodness gracious, it is flying. They say Ramadan comes in like a lamb and it goes out like a lion. It sure does. All right, I am Jamila, aka the IEP coach, and you are tuning into the Coaching Corner. I am the founder and CEO of the IEP Coach LLC. We are an education consulting company, and we specialize in providing professional development and coaching to special education teams, teachers, and paraprofessionals to help them thrive and not just survive in their roles. So, in a nutshell, we make SPED simple for them. Okay. All right. And we go live every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we talk about all things special education. So listen, we're going to talk about this topic of how to advocate effectively in IEP meetings. And we're going to have some time for some Q&A. So make sure you stick around because you can get your question answered here right on the live. But before we go any further, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to, one, drop in the comments, let me know where you're tuning in from, and two, share out this live with as many people as possible. This is for parents, this is for teachers, this is for admin, anybody who is sitting at that IEP table for the meetings, related service providers, the parent, the teacher, the admin, the LEA, everybody. Okay, so share out this live. And as I'm telling you to share it out, I am sharing it out as well. Oh my God, the weather is starting to break. My birthday is coming. April 6th. Ah, so excited. All right, let me calm down. Let me chill out for a little bit. Okay, sharing out this live. But yes, the weather it was cold this morning, but it's getting warmer, and I'm so happy it is getting much warmer. All right, let's share out this live. All right. Okay. And just a reminder for everybody, our popular workshop, the IEP in a nutshell, it is now on demand. You can just click the link in our bio and go ahead and register and, go ahead and view the workshop and get the tips and skills right there on demand. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. If you are tuning in on Instagram, you can click the link in our bio and register and watch it and view it right away. Okay? That is our most popular workshop. So instead of just keep doing it every month, hey, you need to get some tips about the IEP in a nutshell. Go ahead, click the link right in our bio and go ahead and watch it right there on demand. All right? Right there on demand. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, the IEP Insider. Yo, we have over 1,000 subscribers to this newsletter, and we just launched it. What was it? January? The end of January? Or was it February? It was January or February. We just launched that. So listen, you definitely want to subscribe to that so you know when the next edition drops. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link here in the comments. If you are on Instagram, you can click the link in our bio and go ahead. Listen, it's tips for admin, it's tips for teachers, actionable tips, like you can applicable strategies you can apply the very next day. Okay, and that's the purpose of that newsletter. We want to make sure we're giving you strategies and tips that you can utilize right away. Okay, so the IEP Insider, I just dropped it in the comments, and as well as the IEP in a nutshell on demand workshop, I dropped it right there in the comments. So go ahead, take advantage. Okay, I am just dropping it here on LinkedIn. And we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. All righty. Okay. All right. So let me make sure. Let me see anybody on Instagram asking any questions. Okay, we good. We good. We good. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, tonight's topic is how to advocate effectively in IEP meetings. How to effectively advocate in IEP meetings. So who's on the live? How many of you have been in an IEP meeting? How many of you have been in IEP meetings? Say me. Say I. You can do your raise your hand. Who's been in an IEP meeting? Let me know in the comments. Let me know who has been in an IEP meeting. I have. I've been in hundreds of IEP meetings. And when I tell you, I know how to advocate for students because over the years I've just gotten better with it. But sometimes parents don't know how. Sometimes teachers, they come to the table and they're quiet, and I'm like, I need you to talk. I need you to say something. I need you to advocate for these students that you instruct. Right? Related service providers, you need to advocate. Admin, you need to advocate. Okay? And sometimes it can be intimidating and overwhelming at these IEP meetings. They could be sharing, the person that's leading the meeting could be doing a lot of sped jargon. You're not even sure what they're talking about. So you're a little confused. It could be a little intimidating because you see all these people at the table and you're like, goodness gracious, what did I just walk into? I thought it was just my child's teacher. And that's it. Like, oh my God, all these people. Or even if you're the gen ed teacher or a related service provider, you're coming in like, goodness, all these people, especially if you're new, it can be overwhelming. All right. So tonight, I'm going to give you some clear, actionable tips and strategies so that way you can walk away and be ready, empowered, and ready to advocate for at your next IEP meeting. All right. So whether you're a parent, teacher, or admin, this live is for you. Okay. This is for you. This is our conversation. So again, drop your questions as they come to you. Drop your questions in the comments. I'll make sure someone on our team sees it to make sure I see it, and it will be addressed. All right. So let's get started. Now, IEP meetings are not just a formality, okay? IEPs are a legal document. Therefore, an IEP meeting is a legal process, okay? So, and it's just like the IEP is designed to serve the student's needs, the IEP meeting is designed to serve the student's needs, all right? So every voice at that table matters. So everybody on the IEP team, voices matter. And you may say, okay, who's the IEP team? It's the student, it's the parent, it's the special education teacher, it's the gen ed teachers, it's the administrator, any related service providers. Anybody that gives support to that student or instructs that student is on the IEP team. Okay? Everybody's voice matters. All right? Now, have you ever left an IEP meeting feeling like you didn't have all the answers? You might have left that meeting like, I don't know what the heck they were talking about. I don't know what just happened. I'm not even sure what my child is getting. I'm not even sure what the student got. I don't even know what just happened here. Or you felt like you wasn't being heard. I want you to drop me in the chat or do the raise hand emoji. If that's you, if you've been in an IEP meeting and you left that meeting feeling like your voice was not heard, they didn't listen to you, they were talking over you, I want you to put me in the comments or do the raise hand emoji. All right. Let me see who is in the chat. Okay, I see a me. Me. Yes. I've now, it wasn't a meeting that I led, but there was like a few times I left like I'm not even sure what the outcome, what the solution. We were talking about some struggles. I'm like, what's the solution here? All right. So it's very important that we advocate at these IEP meetings so that way, one, your voice is being heard. Two, you are voicing the students' needs, and you're making sure that they are being supported and going to get the support that they need. So that's why one, advocacy is important. Now here we're going to go into the tips on how you can best advocate. So one, be prepared. So do your homework. Teachers, do your homework. Make sure you review the IEP, the previous IEP, so you know what the goals are. Make sure you view your current data and you bring the data with you. You analyze the data so you know what the students' needs are, you know what the students' strengths are, and then you know what type of goals you want to do for this new IEP. Hey, Camille, thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so teachers, that's your homework. And also bring the work samples to the IEP meeting. Parents, review your child's IEP. So one, you can remember what bring it. You can even bring that copy with you. So one, you can check to see, are they recycling goals, for one. And then two, you can write down questions that you have about your child's IEP and bring it to the meeting. So that way you already know, okay, I know what the goals were. Okay, here were the questions I have. You have it written down. So that way at the meeting, you're not trying to think on the spot like, what questions do I have? Let me think about it. And you know, we all need time to process. So prior to the meeting, get a draft of the IEP. They can print out a physical copy for you. If you prefer electronic, get electronic, but always get a physical copy. You can write your questions on that. You can bring it with you to the meeting. You can put Post-it notes on it and put your questions on it. Okay? And then for admin, make sure your team have a dedicated space, dedicated time allotted for this meeting, and they had time to plan for this meeting. Okay, make sure they had time to speak to each other. Make sure they had time to plan together. Make sure they have time, a dedicated space for the IEP meeting, and you are allotting enough time. Too often, I've heard teachers saying they only had a half hour for IEP meeting. I said a half an hour? What did you get done? There's no way you can have an IEP meeting in 30 minutes. I don't care what nobody says. The minimum is 60 minutes. Okay? I'm going to tell you the minimum is 60 minutes. Now, the only way I can see half an hour is perhaps that student may be speech only, OT only, or something like that. They only got a related service. I can see it being that where you don't have that much to do. And also they're younger, so you don't have all the sections to go through. That's the only way. But other than that, 60 minutes minimum. Okay? All right. Now, next one. So I said, do your homework. Everybody has homework to do for the IEP meeting. Next thing, you want to focus on clarity and simplicity. So, whoever's leading that IEP meeting, SPED teachers, don't use so much SPED jargon that you confuse everybody on the team and you confuse the parents. Everybody don't know the SPED lingo. And if you use it, make sure you explain it thoroughly so they understand. Okay? Speak in plain, student-centered language. Keep the student at the center focus at all times. Their needs, their strengths at the focus at all times. Okay? Don't let the meeting get lost in all that SPED jargon. Don't let the meeting go to the left because somebody might bring up something and you can say, hey, we can answer that at the end, but right now we're going to stay focused on their needs. Okay? We're going to stay focused on their needs because sometimes it's easy to go to the left with the meeting because somebody had a question or something else, but keep the kid at the focus. All right? Teachers lead in the meeting. Make sure you stop to pause and explain in simple terms what you're saying. And then parents, please, I beg of you, if you don't understand something, just say, excuse me, can you explain that? Just say, excuse me, can you explain that? Please, please do not just sit there and nod, because I've seen that plenty of times and you have no idea what they're talking about. Okay? You deserve clarity, ask for it. Excuse me, can you break that down? I'm not even sure. When I have IEP meetings, I always tell parents, I said, listen, if I say something you don't understand, stop me. just stop and just say, Miss Bashir, I need you to stop. I don't know what you're talking about, or I'm not sure what you just said. Okay? So teachers talk in plain student-centered language. Don't use so much jargon that you confuse parents. If you use some jargon, thoroughly explain yourself. And parents, if you're not clear on something, just ask for clarity. All right? Now, so for example, so teachers, as you're leading that, so don't just say something like, okay, here's the modifications for the instruction. You can say, well, here's how we're going to modify the instruction so that way Jonathan can access it, so that way Jonathan can attain it, so that way Jonathan can access the material so he can show what he knows. Like break down what you're saying. All right. Now, here's another one. Ask powerful questions. So try not to do yes/no questions. Okay. So ask powerful questions. Here or now. Listen. Write this down. Write this down. These are some powerful questions to ask at an IEP meeting. All right. Write it down. How is the goal being measured? That is one important question to ask. How is my child's goal or goals being measured? So when you ask that, they have to say, well, we're using probes, or we're going to use a rubric, or we're using assessments, or we're doing observation. Always ask, how are the goals being measured? That's the first powerful question. Second powerful question is, what's the plan if progress isn't being made? That's another powerful question. What is the plan if progress isn't being made? Or what is going to happen if my child isn't making progress? Okay, that was the second one. The third one, excuse me, it's not 4 powerful questions, it's 3. Sorry. When they start talking about accommodations and modifications, what does that look like in the classroom? What do the modifications and accommodations look like in the classroom? I just gave you 3 powerful questions to ask. So first one, how are the goals measured? Okay, that's the first powerful question. Second powerful question is, if my child isn't making progress, what's the plan? If progress is not being made, what is the plan? And then the third powerful question is, how do those accommodations and modifications look like in the classroom? Okay, just gave you 3 powerful questions. Ask those questions. Okay, guaranteed great dialogue. You're going to know how your child's goals are being measured. You're going to know how the accommodations and modifications look in the classroom, and what's the plan if they're not making progress. Okay. Next tip. Now, avoid these common IEP meeting mistakes. Rushing through the meeting, using too much jargon, which I have said over and over, do not do. When you focus only on the student's deficits, meaning you're only focusing on what they can't do. They can't do this. They can't do that. And not making time to answer parent questions. Those are huge mistakes. Avoid those. Okay? So, do not rush through that meeting. Do not use all that sped jargon. Don't just focus on what the student can do. Focus on what they can do and build from there. And always make time to answer the parents' questions. I cannot stress that enough. Always make time. Always make time to answer the parents' questions. Okay? All right. Next tip. Speak up and stand firm. Stand on all 10 when you are talking. Talk with conviction. You got a question, say it with conviction, okay? Like, everybody has the right to ask questions at the meeting. Everybody has the right to request data. Everybody has the right to express their concerns. Okay? So, and it's okay to disagree. You can say something like, if someone says something, you can say, well, Can you say more? Can you explain that more? Or I think I will understand if you could explain your decision behind that. Can you explain your reasoning behind that? Versus I disagree. I don't think that doesn't make any sense. That's gonna make the meeting go left. No. If someone says something that you don't like or you don't agree with, you can say, "Oh, how did you come to that decision?" Or what data did you use to come to that decision? What data did you use to increase service or decrease service? Oh, and Katie made a great point. It should be an alliance for the child. Always keep the child at the forefront. Okay. Another way that you can, if you disagree, you can say, can we revisit this and look at an alternative? You don't, if you, having a disagreement doesn't have to be nasty and it doesn't have to be disrespectful. You can respectfully disagree with somebody. And that's how it should be at an IEP meeting. Respect from the gate and respect all around. Okay. And last tip, make sure you close that meeting with clear next steps. Okay. This is one of the best ways to advocate. Like, yes, you're talking about your concerns for the student, how you're going to support the student. Close the meeting recapping the clear next steps. How are we going to move forward from here? So, clear action steps, contact points for follow-up. So you can say, okay, you might say, okay, we're going to do an intervention for Jonathan, and he's going to start going to homework club. 2 clear steps. All right. Contact points for follow-up. We're going to follow up in 2 weeks. I'm going to send an email to everyone, and we're going to do boom, boom, boom. I'm going to update you with his progress. And then the timeline for reviewing progress. Okay. With the intervention, we're gonna check the progress at the end of every week or bi-weekly. We're gonna check the progress, check how he's doing. We're gonna check the data and analyze it. Okay. And parents, always get a draft of that IEP before you go to the IEP meeting. This is one of the best ways to advocate. So that way you can see the goals, you can see everything beforehand. Again, you can get your questions together. It gives you time to process what you have read in the IEP, and you can start putting your questions on that IEP. All right. So let's recap. All right. So we know advocacy is important because everybody's voice matters, right? Now, to properly advocate and to effectively advocate, everybody has to do their homework. So teachers, review the data, analyze your data, analyze the students' progress on their goals, and come with their work samples. Parents, make sure you review your child's IEP prior to coming to the meeting, so you have your questions ready and you're prepared. Administrators, make sure the IEP team at the school had time to meet and plan together. They actually have a designated space for their meeting, and you have allotted them enough time. Cut out those quick 30-minute, at least an hour. At least an hour. All right. Focus on clarity and simplicity. Lose all the jargon. Don't use all this bad jargon where you're confusing people. Explain yourself thoroughly. Speak in plain student-centered language. Okay? And keep the student at the focal point always. Because we're here for Jonathan. We're talking about Jonathan. This is the point of this meeting. How he's doing, how he needs to improve, and what we're going to do to help him improve and his skills. And if you don't understand something, parents, please ask for clarity. Ask a question. All right. Then here were the 3 powerful questions I told you to ask at your next IEP meeting. How are the goals being measured? So write this down. That's the first powerful question. How are these goals being measured? The second powerful question is, what's the plan if my child isn't making progress? And then the last powerful question is, how are these accommodations and modifications, how do they look in the classroom? How do you do them in the classroom? Those are 3 powerful questions. Okay? And then, of course, avoid rushing through the meeting. Avoid using too much jargon. Avoid only focusing on what the student can't do, and always make sure you make time for parents' questions. Okay? Speak up and be firm with your speech. It's okay to disagree. You can respectfully disagree. If someone says something in the meeting that you don't agree with, you can just say, "Excuse me, can you share the data behind that decision? How did you come to that decision? Can we revisit and try an alternative? What's the alternative to that?" It's okay. We can respectfully disagree. And last but not least, close with clear next steps. So what are you going to do? How are you going to progress monitor that? And how are you going to touch base with everyone, communicate with everybody? Okay? Doing all of these will help you advocate effectively at your next IEP meeting, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent, whether you are admin. All right? Okay? So I want to take the time to open up for questions. Who has questions? Who has questions? Go ahead and drop them in the comments right now. Also, I want to remind you guys of our Ramadan toolkit that we have. If you need help with supporting your school, supporting your staff during this blessed month of Ramadan, and you're not sure how, go ahead and get our Ramadan toolkit. We have signage in there. We have the do's and don'ts. We have a checklist. We have emails that you can send to your staff, emails that you can send to your parents. We have we have need surveys. We have journal topic. We have everything that you need right there in that Ramadan toolkit. So don't play. Don't play. There's no excuse. There should be nobody saying that there should be nobody saying like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not able to pray at school. I don't know how to serve my students. I don't know how to." No, there's no room for that. We done did the Ramadan real talk. We done had these lives. We done did so much with you guys. It's no excuse. It is no excuse no more. And don't forget, we have freebies for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the comments as well. Let me see. Do we have any questions? Okay, we have a question right here. How are these goals being measured? I am Sina Martin. I hope I said your name right. Sina or Sina Martin. I hope I said your name right. I'm not sure if you was just repeating something I said, but how are goals measured? Now, if they are academic goals, the teacher can be using the teacher can use an intervention program. Using the data from the intervention program, the teacher can be using assessments. The teacher can be using assessments. What else? If they're academic goals, yeah, they can use probes and be timing the student. If there are behavior goals, a lot of times they're going to use a rubric. So, like, let's say for instance, completing classwork. It may say, and he or she can get a certain amount of points. Like a 1 could be they completed no work. 2 could be they completed. It could be little to no work, or it may say 3 to 1 assignment for that whole week. A 2 could be they completed 2 to 3 assignments for that week, and then a 3 could be, hey, they completed all of their assignments. And then the teachers will circle what they did for the day. So this helps the case manager track how they're doing with that goal. And then over time, they analyze that data that they get to see, is the student making progress or they're not making progress. Sometimes it's through observation. So like the counselor, if they see a student for counseling, they could be observing them in their counseling sessions. How are they doing in the counseling sessions? Same thing with speech. And occupational therapy. So there's a lot of ways to measure goals. So, but you definitely want to ask, when you're at the IEP meeting, you definitely want to ask, how are those goals being measured? Okay. Any more questions before we head on out? Any more questions? Let me check. All right, I don't see any questions. If questions come to you later, please don't hesitate to DM us at the IEP Coach LLC. We're very responsive, and we are at the IEP Coach LLC on all platforms. Please remember, advocacy doesn't have to be scary. It does not. It's about preparation, clarity, and standing firm with the students' needs. All right? Don't forget to subscribe to our monthly newsletter. I'm going to drop it again, the IEP Insider. And we are going to be dropping. Actually, we got a new edition drop in tomorrow. I know we said monthly, but we want to drop this article. So don't forget to subscribe to our monthly newsletter, the IEP Insider. Okay. Also, we just dropped the link for our freebies and for I'm going to drop the link again for our IEP in a nutshell. It is on demand. This is our most popular workshop. It is on demand. So we're going to go ahead and drop that in the comments as well. And if your school or parent community needs more support with how to advocate or just support with their IEP meetings and IEPs, please don't hesitate to contact us. Okay? I'm going to drop the link for you guys to book a call with us. Please don't hesitate to contact us and book a call so we can come to your school and support you guys. Okay? Just like I said, open your mouth and talk. Closed mouths don't get fed. Ask and you shall receive. So you have to make sure you open your mouth. All right? You got to go ahead and open your mouth. Okay, I just got to make sure I got the right link. I have got to add that link to my notes. All right, here it is. Here it is. All righty. So go ahead. There you go. All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Stay encouraged, stay prepared, and stay ready to advocate. Be kind to yourself. Remember your capacity. You're only one person. You only can do what you are capable of doing. Be safe and be kind to each other. And I will see you next week. Peace.